you crave exciting sports takes and news? Fed up with the same old boring voices you hear on the radio? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you just might be a T-Bloomaholic. Lucky for you, it's time for another episode of the T-Bloom Talk Show, the #1 sports podcast in the world. Settle in, my T-Bloomanites, because another episode starts right now. Live from T-Bloom headquarters, here's your host, T-Bloom.
All right, nation! What's going on? T-Bloom back with another T-Bloom Talk Show. Welcome to another episode of the T-Bloom Talk Show, the #1 podcast in the world. As always, we like to start off this podcast with a question. How's your day going? Is it good? Hell, maybe it's bad. Regardless of which way you answered, it's about to get better. Today we got a full slate, a full goddamn lineup of shit to go over. Of course, it's Friday. I'm going to give you my picks for the NFL Week 14 Sunday. All the games we'll go over. And for the first time ever, we will have two new special guests on the T-Bloom Talk Show. We got Chris Phillips all the way out in South Carolina. He runs a podcast called The Daily Crow and the Spurs Up Show. He's going to come on. He's going to talk a little bit of college football, a little bit of his journey into the podcasting game. And we will also have Jordan Heinz. Yeah, that's right, from the Sports Dude Heinz Show. Coming on the podcast, he's going to talk some AFC North football with us. A little bit out of league issues and stuff like that. It's going to be a good time. So hold on to your goddamn seats because the T-Bloom Talk Show starts right now. Right after I get this paper going. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things. We're going to start it off with a little bit of, how should I put this? A little bit of a predicciontos. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's a cognate in Italia world. What do you call it nowadays? Doesn't matter. We're going to start off with some predictions. We're going with the Philadelphia Eagles versus the New York Giants. Quite possibly the biggest matchup of the week. The New York Giants sit at 7-4-1. Philly's sitting at 11-1. They got the best record in the league. Will they hold on to it? This is going to be a test for them because they did beat the Giants last time they played. Will they be able to beat them again, this time in New York Giants Stadium all the way out there? Oh, where is it at? In New Jersey. It's so funny. They play in New Jersey, but they call themselves these New York Giants, but they're in Jersey. You fucking whoosies, whatsies, wazies. How's this game going to go? It's going to be interesting. It's really going to depend on how can the New York Giants play defense against the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, it's simple as that. This Philadelphia Eagles team cannot put up 30 points on you. If they're putting up 30 points, you lost the game as the Giants. Your team's not built for that kind of scoring, but your team is built to play good D and to hand the ball off and a little bit of running out Daniel Jones. Will they do it? I don't know, man. I mean, the thing about these NFC East teams is they play each other so fucking good no matter what year it is, no matter what record it is, and it's a tough one. It's a tough one. I'm going to go with the New York Giants on this one, and that's not because I'm hating on the Philadelphia Eagles. You guys who were in on the podcast this last Tuesday, you saw the ultimate confession from me to the Eagles Nation and to my friend Charlie out there. I get it. The Philadelphia Eagles are good, but God, it's so hard to finish a season 16-1. So I think there's going to be a game or two that they're going to lose. They're going to drop just by the nature of the game, just by the nature of the being. And I think this is one that could happen. The Giants, their backs against the fucking wall. They know the Eagles very well, and I think this could happen. This is going to be an interesting game. I'm excited for it. But I'm going to roll with the New York Giants. And for you bettors out there, here's a little bit of stats, just so you can fucking get in your mind. So the spread is +7 on the Giants side. The Giants are 9-3 overall against the spread. When they are at home, they are 5-2, and over the last 10, they are 7-3 against the spread. This is the time to hit that +7 on the spread for the New York Giants, because not only could they win this, but this can be a close game. On the other hand, you got a Philadelphia Eagles team who, when they're on the road, are 1-4 against the spread. So the what do they call those fucking things? The fucking millennials, or the what the fuck is it called? God, I can't fucking think. I swear, as soon as these fucking cameras turn on, TBloom's mind goes fucking whoozy-whatsy. Oh, what's it called? The trends, the trendsetters, the trendsters. The trends are in line for the Giants to cover the spread. Keep that in mind when you're betting at the MGM Grand or wherever the fuck you guys do it. I don't know, but the spread on this one for the Giants, take it or leave it. Moving on to the next game, the game I'll be watching, the game of the week for me, and it should be for you, the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Baltimore Ravens. Raven week, Raven week. Raven week, and we got the Ravens in a weak spot right now with Lamar Jackson hobbling around with the PCL injury. There's somehow rumors that he's going to start. By all means, good, let him start. I would love to go against a hobbled Lamar Jackson. I mean, I don't know why you'd throw that guy out there against TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, and Cameron Hayward. Oh, and you got Minkah Fitzpatrick floating in and about at the backfield over there. I wouldn't do that to the guy. Tyler Huntley, he's played, that's his name, right? Yeah, it's fucking Tyler Huntley. I hope I'm saying it right. Yeah, Tyler Huntley, the backup for the Baltimore Ravens. He's going to do just fine. I mean, if you think about a couple years ago, he played us really well when we played, I think that was 2 years ago. Maybe it was last year. But he played against us really well, pretty much as good as Lamar Jackson can do. And it's not like when Lamar Jackson's even playing healthy, he played us good at all. He struggled mightily against the Steelers' defense. So I welcome all comers at quarterback. Start who you want, Baltimore, but you got a hot Pittsburgh Steelers team coming in off a win against the Atlanta Falcons, and we're gonna be rolling tough. I mean, Kenny Pickett's getting better by the fucking second. By the throw, he's getting better. We got a pissed off George Pickens, who was bound to get at least 6-7 targets and is bound to moss Marcus Peters. I mean, I just don't see how we lose this one. We're sitting at 5-7. Ravens are at 8-4. Don't be surprised if we move on to 6-7 and the Ravens move on to 8-5. I'm rolling with the Pittsburgh Steelers. What's fucking new? There's no trends here to even talk about. Just Pittsburgh Steeler football, shoving it down your throat. Kenny Pickett, the golden child style. We're rolling Pittsburgh. Next game right now. Minnesota Vikings. Oh, don't you know the Minnesota Vikings are heading into Detroit? Yeah, but guess what? They're not the favorites. They're not the fucking favorites. How are the How are the Minnesota Vikings not the favorites over Detroit? And I get this. Oh, Detroit, they're playing good. They're 5-7. Win streak. Kishka, bushka, bishka. But let's not forget one thing. The Vikings are 10-2, baby. The Vikings are not only 10-2, but they beat the Bills. They just fucking held strong against the New York Jets. By the way, the New York Jets are a fucking great team. Tom Saleh's got that ship running up and fucking moving right now. But yeah, they're 2.5-point favorites. I don't see it. Who am I going to go with? I'm going to go with the fucking Detroit Lions, though, motherfucker. See, this is the thing. I really think the Detroit Lions can win this game. I just didn't know that all you guys knew that. I didn't know that Vegas knew that the Detroit Lions were going to win this game. I thought it was a secret. I was like, oh, Detroit going against Minnesota? Yeah, for sure. Detroit, yeah, for sure. I didn't know Vegas knew that, baby. I didn't know you guys all knew that. I thought there was a secret. I thought it was a well-kept secret. There was going to be like a 4-point spread for the Vikings. I was going to take the spread for the Lions, and it was going to be a fucking big payday. Here's some trends. Detroit Lions, 8-4 against the spread overall. When they're at home, 5-2 against the spread. The last 10, 6-4 against the spread. And get this. Over the last 5, they're 5-0 against the spread. How can you not take the spread? You have to for the Detroit Lions. And you look on the other side, Minnesota, 6-5-1 overall, 2-2-1 on the road, 5-4-1 over the last 10, and get this. Over the last 5, they're 3-1. So it's a little bit of a iffy. Over the last 5, they're 3-1-1. 3-1-1. 3-1-1. That's all it is. Iffy situation. I don't know if I'm going to take the spread, actually, because I just realized the Minnesota Vikings had a pretty decent record against the spread, but I will talk about the over and the under. The over sits at 52.5 points. We know Detroit can score. We know Minnesota can score. We know Detroit's defense sucks. We know Minnesota defense is not the best. Will that equate to a 52.5 point game? Let's check the trends. Minnesota Vikings, 7-5 overall against So when I say 7-5, that means they hit the over 7 times and the under 5 times. So they're 7-5 overall. 2-3 on the road, but 7-3 over the last 10, meaning they hit this over 7 times in the last 10. You look at the Detroit Lions, 8-4 overall. Hit the over 8 times, hit the under 4 times all season. When they're at home, they're 5-2. Yeah, when they're at home, they're 5-2. In the last 10, they're 6-4. So I'm going the over, baby. Let's just shoot for some fireworks right now. Shoot for some fucking fireworks. It's the fucking 5 weeks left of fucking NFL action every Sunday. Let's shoot for some fucking fireworks. Let's take the over. Bet your fucking house on it. Take out the fucking mortgage. Sell the shits. Tell the wife, hey, guess what? We're living or dying by the over today, honey. We're living or dying by the goddamn over, and if you don't fucking love me for it, then this was never meant to be. Tell the kids I'll see them next Sunday. Don't actually do that. But it's a funny scenario. Just take the fucking over. We're really going to roll with the Detroit Lions to win this game. Next game, the Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Tennessee motherfucking Titans. It's division week, man. We just talked about 3 already division games, or 4. The fucking 4 games we talked about already are all division games. It's rivalry weekend. I know that's a college fucking saying, but damn it, it fucking fits for the NFL this week. Jacksonville Jaguars, Tennessee Titans. Jacksonville sitting at 4-8, Tennessee at 7-5 after just getting dog walked over there in Philly. Gotta think they're going to be pissed. Mike Vrabel ain't having that shit. We're going to roll with the Tennessee Titans pretty fucking tough on this one. If you look at the spread trends, Tennessee 8-4 overall. At home, they're 3-2. In the last 10, they're 8-2. And you look at the fucking Jacksonville Jaguars, 4-8 overall, 1-6 on the road, 3-7 over the last 10. It's a no-brainer. We're going with the Tennessee Titans -4 spread. Look for them to get their shit together. Yeah, Mike Vrabel, get your fucking shit together and look for them to fucking pound town Jacksonville Jaguars all the way home. T-Law's kind of been a disappointment a little bit. Not really a disappointment, but more of a slow progression. Not a slow progression either, because it's like, fuck, he plays for the Jacksonville Jaguars. What the fuck do you expect him to do? I mean, you can't fucking cook a hot dog and fucking serve it as a ribeye and expect good results. It just doesn't work out that way. Where's Jacksonville going to go with this? They're going to go to 4-9, and the Tennessee Titans will go to 8-5. So with that being said, we just went through 4 games. Right now, we're going to have on a special guest. His name is Chris Phillips from the Daily Crow and the Spurs Up Show. He's located out of South Carolina. His show really focuses on Gamecock stuff. South Kakalaki Gamecocks. That's his go-to stuff. So if you like college football and you like the Gamecocks, he's the perfect guy to go to whenever you need a podcast to listen to. Keep in mind, this interview was cut off a little bit at the beginning due to some technical issues, but it picks up right after I asked him the question of kind of how he got started in the podcast game and how he grew his fanship pretty much. So it starts right off into him talking about that, and then it should be good from there on out. I hope you guys enjoy it. Here you go.
Position note back then. We would write about college football and stuff like that and write about sports. And so you can take it all the way back to there. But, I was a consumer first, and I was like many out there. I always knew I kind of had a knack for it, but just didn't know how to start. And so, I was on social media, and long story short, stumbled across this entity called Armchair All-Americans, and they had an Armchair South Carolina specific page, but they were looking for a South kind of contributor. And they had like 30 followers on Twitter, no Instagram, no Facebook, no nothing, basically starting at 0 on their South Carolina side of things. And I just kind of stumbled upon them and I was like, hey, I'd love to contribute, and I saw it as an outlet, an entity to an avenue to give my opinion about my favorite team. And sure enough, hit the ground running January 2017. And back then I was only, writing 2 articles a week and was tweeting here and there, not a ton. Started the podcast side of things, which was under the Spurs Up Show name, April of 2017, and then again, condensed version of that story, if you will, November of 2018 is when I got the LLC for the business. I saw the potential for it to expand and grow, and I had the vision for it very early on. So I got the LLC November of 2018, and then August of 2019, I moved to Columbia, South Carolina to pursue it full time and to chase the dream. And I've been rocking ever since. And, it's just been slow, consistent content creation. I mean, it's a slow grind on social media. I mean, you know that. I mean, I like to tell people, I mean, you look at the numbers now and it's crazy, right? And Twitter's really where my business started. But after 6 months of, consistent content creation, now after 6 months, though, we went from 30 followers to 100. So it wasn't like it was something where like, oh, we just exploded out the gate, 10,000 followers out the jump. Because, this is the fun part, right? When you build up a business, build up a brand to where, the followers start adding up, and it's a lot of fun when you're pumping out content. It's getting interactions, it's getting views, it's getting clicks. There's a lot of engagement. There's this open-ended banter. That's the fun part. And I tell people right now in business is the fun part. It's much tougher in that beginning, right? When you've got like 100 followers and you're posting a video clip and it's getting like 50 views or whatever. But that's the grind. I mean, that's truly the grind. You have to embrace it and love it. And again, I always just saw it as if this can positively impact one person, and it's giving me a channel, an entity, an outlet to talk about my favorite team. And I always wanted to be an entrepreneur as well. I was just like everybody else working the 9-to-5 cube life job in Charlotte, North Carolina. And I wasn't fulfilled. I didn't love what I did. And, I used to joke with my buddies that I do what I have to do to pay the bills 9 to 5 and do what I love to do the rest of the time. And again, it's been one hell of a journey, man. It's been one hell of a ride. And I always say the joy is in the journey. And certainly it's, it's incredible where we're at, where we're going, and extremely blessed, man. I'm very fortunate and grateful for everything that's happened for sure.
Absolutely. And so are you native to South Carolina, or you said you moved from North Carolina to South Carolina?
I'm from North Augusta, South Carolina. Went to Newberry College, which is about 45 minutes up the road from Columbia, South Carolina. That's where I played my college baseball at. So yes, I'm from South Carolina, but after school.
Oh, so college baseball.
Yes. Yeah. I was a college baseball player.
Nice.
Moved up to Charlotte after school to just, I wanted to get to the city, get to the money, if you will, or what, what I thought. And so took that, ran with that, took that avenue. And again, in Charlotte, when I lived in Charlotte, that's when, because I got there August of 2015. So it was January 2017. I started creating content around the Gamecocks, and I was in Charlotte till May of 2019. So for the first 2 years or so, I was building the business out of Charlotte, North Carolina. Still got a lot of love for CLT. It's a great place, great city. But no, I am born and raised in the state of South Carolina. I'm born and raised a Gamecock fan, and yeah, I've been a Gamecock my entire life, man. I mean, my first South Carolina football game that I ever went to was the 2003 season. I was 12 years old, and that's kind of really when it clicked for me, like South Carolina football and just how big of a deal it was. I was a baseball player growing up. My family, we weren't really going to games or. Some of the families you see where it's like their kids are out the womb going to Williams-Brice Stadium. I wasn't really like that, but my grandfather's the one that really, really got me into it. And so when I was 11 or 12 was like when it really clicked. I think I'd watched games before, but that's when it really clicked. It was like I became a diehard and it got in my blood, if you will. So yeah, man, I've been a Gamecock since the jump, and it's not for the faint of heart, that's for sure.
Right. Yeah. So my roommate's actually from South Carolina. But he wasn't born and raised. He moved to Washington after, he was like 3 years old. But yeah, it's kind of not been the easiest road for some, Gamecocks. You know what I mean? The sports haven't been necessarily the greatest as of late, but Spencer Rattler's definitely changing things in that future. Do you think he stays, or do you think he goes for sure to the transfer portal, or not transfer portal? Do you think he goes to the draft?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. Based off
if
what
you had to put money on it.
Yeah, no, right now, based off what I've heard, if I had to put money on it, I think he's back.
Yeah.
He's playing in the bowl game. And again, I think South Carolina, we just saw Jaheim Bell hit the portal, and we're seeing the effects of NIL and transfer portal. I think Rattler will stay due to NIL. I think they're putting together currently a package for him that is going to outweigh any sort of contract he would get being drafted at the next level.
It's so weird seeing kids like sign like, it's due to money now. Like money is like a thing now that has to do.
About it, I think I saw something yesterday where it's like if you get drafted in like the 6th round of the NFL draft, like there was some quarterback last year that got like 600,000, and I mean that's nothing to NIL. I mean, it's just they can put together $1.5 million packages for a year, and I mean now it's all legal, right? So and there's different ways to even get around it and add more money on top. So no, I think Rattler's a guy that South Carolina, the powers that be, the fans with influence, if you will, the boosters, I think they're putting together a package right now. And I mean, you never know if he goes out there in the bowl game and throws for 300 or 400 yards and goes off and goes crazy. And, certain people get in his ear that, he may decide to make the jump if he thinks maybe he can get taken in the 2nd or 3rd round. But I tend to think he's back. I think it would do a lot of good for him to come back.
Absolutely.
Because I was convinced he was a one and done guy. I mean, because I think that was the plan from the jump. But
for sure.
I think when you look at the opportunity to come back under a new OC, especially if an Antoine Wells returns, I've heard Marshawn Lloyd's probably going to be back as well. So you could have your core guys and then other guys you add. If you pick, and if you get Rattler back, the dudes they're going to be able to add from the transfer portal. I mean, what receiver is not going to want to come play with him?
Right.
What playmaker on the offensive side? So I think there's a lot of reasons for him to come back. And I think at the end of the day, when the dust settles, I think he'll play the bowl game. And again, from everything I've heard, man, I think Spencer Rattler will be back under center next year.
For sure. I mean, I hope to see him back. I mean, I think that'd be cool. I think the Gamecocks would definitely be fucking off and rolling if he were to come back.
It could spell a huge year for Rattler and for South Carolina football, I should say, more important.
For sure.
Just year 3 of Beamer.
Did you guys finish ranked this year?
Yes. Yeah. So 19th in the college football playoff rankings.
Okay.
Carolina beat Tennessee and Clemson back-to-back the final 2 games.
Oh, shit. You're right. Yeah.
First time ever the Gamecocks football, first time ever they've won back-to-back games against top 10 opponents in the history of the school. So
wow. Yeah, that's fucking momentum on momentum right there. Going to like more towards like, where the scope of the Daily Crow and the Spurs Up show is going to be kind of headed. Are you really focusing on just Gamecock content? Or are you thinking maybe of expanding into, more broader college football or maybe even professional sports? Yeah. What's going on with that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm glad you bring it up because I'm someone that I get asked a lot about, what's your 5-year plan? What's the future? Everybody kind of wants to know what the next step is. And, I'm someone that not to take the question down a different road, but I'm someone that I most certainly goal set, and December and New Year's Eve in particular has become one of my favorite months and one of my favorite holidays because when you're so in the grind of content, especially at the football season, I don't take a whole lot of time to look back or even, look ahead. I mean, I've got my calendar and stuff like that, but I try to stay as present moment as possible with the content at hand. And again, I mean, I have daily guests on. I'm doing a daily show. I mean, I stay pretty wrapped up in the task at hand. Mm-hmm. But this end of year, I'll look back on all the successes we had, and I'll broadcast and I'll forecast, I should say, and write down goals for the upcoming year. But I believe more so in implementing systems that will get me to the end result I want to be at versus hard, concrete goals. Because my own life is a testament to, your life can completely change in a year. You know what I mean? So I almost feel like kind of setting 5-year plans are kind of silly because, things could change so much in a year where it's like things could work out even 10 times better than you ever projected, 100 times better,
right.
Or that goal you have set out 5 years from now, that could happen in 6 months. I mean, again, I've seen it in my own life, but yes, at some point down the road, I will tell you, again, I try not to worry too much about, the long term because I'm trying to enjoy the present, man, right now. I mean, what we're doing is fucking awesome. I mean, it's truly incredible, but no, I think for me, the path, at some point, I'm not saying it's going to be tomorrow or next month or even next year, but I think going national will happen for me at some point. I think it'll be in my future, or at least going like SEC wide. I think that'll be the first step, rebranding the Spurs Up show and going more to an SEC wide type show. Because even right now, obviously we're the Spurs Up show, we're Gamecocks, but every now and then I'll throw out a tweet or I'll throw out some content about, for example, the other night I said it was, crazy that Hendon Hooker didn't get invited to New York for the Heisman Trophy. And that tweet got like 1,000 likes. Like people just college football fans. And it's incredible how many rival fans tune into my content because they just truly enjoy the banter in regards to just college football, SEC football, what have you. So, and especially when we're playing their team that respective week. So, in this game, man, obviously, I mean, if you want to make an even bigger splash, going from covering one team to covering 14, for example, is going to be the way to go. So I think at some point, that's going to be, but I don't have some hard set date, man. I think that's something where, I believe in flow state and being in flow.
Right.
And I think it's something that'll just come to me. I'll just know,
when it happens kind of thing.
Right. Well, yeah. Because right now, I mean, again, man, we're seeing so much success and everything's doing so well, and I'm in no rush. I mean, I'm a Gamecock fan, and I'll always be a Gamecock, whether I'm covering the SEC National. Like, I'll be one of those guys. I'm not gonna hide from my allegiances, my affiliations, but what I'm able to do so well, and why TSUS has grown to the level it is, and why people rock with it and resonate with it so hard, is because yes, I'm a Gamecock, but I remove as much of my fandom as possible, and I just call it for what it is. I call it spade, and that's the only way I know how to operate. You know what I mean? And so,
Right.
my as corny as it may sound to some, my number one goal, my micro goal is just every day wake up and do what I love to do and fuel my passions and my dreams. And but obviously over the course of the long haul, not like you said, man, I think at some point for sure, if I want to maximize my talents and maximize my abilities, I think expanding outside of just one team, right, and spreading that value too. I look at it that way. The way we
even just like for you personally, would you like to talk about more, about just the whole SEC, or even like, do you follow professional sports? Are you a professional guy, or are you more just college?
What's so funny, man, for me is like, I don't like dislike the NFL. Like I like it. And I love baseball. Like I'll watch MLB, whatever, but it's funny. I stay so wrapped up in business, and it's almost like at this point, I tell people I don't probably watch as much sports as you'd probably think somebody like me would, because it's kind of like if I'm not making content around it, it doesn't interest me nearly as much. But if I pivoted and made that move, then yeah, I'd love to just sit in the studio and watch SEC football all day. And I still do watch the games. I mean, I don't want to make it sound, obviously I'm watching a ton of sports, but yeah, I mean, I like it. I like it for sure, but it's an extra, it's like an extra, there's extra juice in it for me watching South Carolina and even the SEC though, because again, we play these teams like, it's like I said, it's really interesting to see all the SEC fans that do follow along my show because we play them, or just because, I built up my name and my brand to the point to where, our content is valued by SEC fans, not just Gamecock fans. So, but again, it's all about the end consumer, man, and pushing value and the way that we've been able to touch so many people, Gamecock fans, and positively, impact their lives and incorporate ourselves in their daily routines and their the content they consume, because there's so many different options out there. I think it'd be a great opportunity to, like I said, maximize my skills and talents to push value out to fans of all
absolutely. And I'm not even a Gamecock guy.
Yeah,
and I'm not even a Gamecock fan or anything. I came across your stuff on I believe it was Twitter. Just seen a random clip of you talking, and you got that kind of personality, you got that kind of voice that just people resonate with. You seem like a blue collar type of guy, individual. People, you're not up there with the suit and tie talking about college sports, thinking that you seem like a real down to earth blue collar guy that people can resonate with. And I think if you ever wanted to, keep going, making it more expansive, I think you got that voice, man.
I was going to say, to your point, I appreciate what, the kind words. And it's over the summer, I dropped an entity called SEC Unfiltered. I thought for a moment, I was like, well, I could we'll drop the Spurs Up show, the podcast Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I'll drop this SEC Unfiltered show Tuesday, Thursday. And I think one of my greatest traits as an entrepreneur, maybe just as a person, but I mean, I embrace failure. I love to fail. You know what I mean? It gets you closer to a success, right? Every single failure does. And, and I try to fail fast, right? Learn quickly, adjust. I do that in my content and everything else. But, I realized very quickly, I was like, there's just no way I can do two entities. It's just impossible. Like TSUS takes up all of my time. But that's why I'm saying, so that failure, quote unquote, or just that experience, led to, I realized very quickly, if I'm going to rebrand, that's what I'm going to have to do is just, what I think is cool, man, what I think is cool is even though I wouldn't just be solely talking about the Gamecocks, my audience rocks and resonates with me to such a point where I think they would just love to hear me talk sports. Like, obviously, still a lot of it's going to be Gamecocks, right? Because I'm a Gamecock guy.
Right.
But I think they would, if I, because what's really cool, man, when you start from zero and you start from the beginning and you organically build a brand and an audience, and I think it's important too, man, to be open with your audience and a bit vulnerable, if you will. Like, my audience knows I was recording my podcast in a closet. Like, I didn't have a studio. I was working a 9 to 5. Like, what I'm saying? Like, so my audience, a lot of them have seen the journey from the jump. And when that day does come where I'm like, you know what, I'm going to rebrand and I have these dreams and these passions and these visions, like, they're going to be like, fuck yeah, dude, we fuck with that. Because we want to see you succeed. We've seen it since the jump. You know what I mean? We've seen you put in the blood, sweat, and tears. So again, I always say, man, one of my favorite things to say is the joy is in the journey. And it truly is, bro. It's I mean, that's the best part, man, is like every year, the next year you're looking back, or man, a year ago today, I was at this point, and then a year following, you look back and you're like, man, at that point, I thought it was certain. Now look where I am now. And it's like every next year is your best year. You know what I mean? So it's just really cool. And that's why I tell people, like, embrace those early days, because you're going to look back. I mean, I still do, man. It's like, and that's what gives you the perspective and the gratitude. And that's what fuels me on a daily basis, is perspective, gratitude. Like, I'm sure there's many things I do that folks would complain, like, oh, I got to edit this, I got to do this. And like, for example, like taking a, with all due respect, taking an interview with somebody like yourself or just anybody, like, I try to say yes to everybody that asks, because I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for the opportunity. You know what I mean? Like, I'm genuinely grateful that somebody cares enough to want to, conversate with me and speak about sports, and they value my opinion enough to even want me as a guest. I try to say yes to, like I said, every single appearance. So, it's, when you're led with that, and you're led with that perspective and gratitude, and also just driving as much value as you possibly can for the end consumer. And like I said, from the jump, for me, it's always been, if I can positively benefit one person, then I won. And so it's easy to win when you start that way. I mean, I remember in the beginning when I hit 100 downloads on a podcast, and I just thought that was the coolest thing. Now we're hitting 60,000 in a month. You know what I mean? So, the numbers we're putting up speak for themselves. It's just, the joy is truly in the journey, man. That's what I would tell anybody, and just enjoy every step of the way.
No, those are wise words right there. Believe me, that means, like you said, I mean, no offense taken by what taking a freaking interview like me. I'll tell you right now, when I sent that message, I was like, he'll probably, say no or whatever. It's just worth even sending out. But for the fact that you came back and, like, right away, yes, when you want to talk, thank you. It's fucking awesome, dude. It's absolutely fucking awesome. And it fuels me. And this is the kind of stuff that fuels me and knows that I'm on the right track. I'm making stuff happen the way I want. And like you said, it's not going to be a jump from 30 followers to 100,000. It's a slow process. And I can definitely, you're motivating me right now. Just so you know, you're motivating me right now. Let's jump back from, like, the whole, that kind of stuff. I want to get your opinion on, how do you feel about the Final Four teams left? Do you feel like there's any holes? Do you feel like the NCAA made any problems, any errors with the Final Four teams in the playoffs this year?
Well, I understand why they chose the four they did. I mean, obviously Georgia's the given, which I had the Dogs going to beat in the regular season. I did think Bama would beat them in the SEC title. I didn't see them losing 2 games. So Georgia obviously makes sense. Michigan obviously makes sense. So TCU, Ohio State, that's the 2 where it's like, I understand why TCU stayed at 3, because they went undefeated in the regular season.
Right.
It's like, are you going to punish a team for playing in the conference championship? You just can't do that. Yeah, it would set a really bad example if you did that. And you like to put a. I mean, here's the thing: everybody beyond Ohio State, they have nobody to blame but themselves. I mean, Alabama lost only 2 games, but they played like shit every other game, it felt like. Yeah. And then Tennessee loses to South Carolina. Clemson loses to South Carolina. Southern Cal got beat down in their title game. So it's like, who else would you have put in? I mean, I'm not thrilled that TCU's in the Final Four. Do I think TCU's going to even I mean, I think Michigan's probably going to fucking boat race them, to be honest with you. But
sure,
we'll see with Max Duggan. I love. You
never know. It could be a story. It could be a Cinderella story.
Yeah. I mean, I love that a player like that is in there. I mean, I think Georgia, Ohio State, because of the brands, is an incredible game. I'm glad we're not seeing like an Ohio State Michigan rematch in the semifinal. But I'm a big proponent. I'm glad they're expanding to 12. I just, I know there's so many people out there that say it's going to kill the regular season. I'm like, well, number one, if let's say, for example, Carolina and Clemson are ranked in the top 2, they're both in the playoff no matter what. That's a rivalry. And let's just talk rivalry weekend as a whole. Ohio State, Michigan, this could also apply. Those rivalry games are massive deals, whether the teams are 0-11 or 11-0 when they play each other. So you're telling me that who gives a fuck about the seeding at that point? Like that's a rivalry game. That's what makes college football great. Right. And it may not be as big of a deal to the national fan that is saying, oh, well, it's just for seeding. But like, who gives a fuck? This is a regional game. Like college football, for the most part, in my opinion, is a regional game. And those games still do matter to and here's the thing too. A playoff works in any other sport at every other level. Like, why can't it work in college football? And who's going to get upset about more football? I just, these people that say it kills the regular season, I think it's a weird argument. I don't agree. I'm not saying we should have a 64 team playoff, but I think 12 makes sense. And I'm not even saying that like 8 through 12 have a real shot to win it all. But again, it's more football. And also, I speak very selfishly from the Gamecock perspective. South Carolina has a shot now. Whereas in a 4-team playoff, I mean, basically they have to win the SEC to get in. And
they got to fucking win out. They got to win.
I believe in Beamer, but shit, man, that's
a tough ask.
We've never done it before. So you're asking for something that's never happened to happen. So, anyways, the 4 teams they got in there, I'm fine with it. I think Georgia's probably going to go back to back. I
was just going to ask that. Yeah. Do you think Georgia's just going to run away with this thing? Because it sure seems like that.
Yeah. I mean, you could argue they're better than they were last year. I mean, Stetson Bennett's playing as well, if not better than anybody in the country. And they're just a lead on both lines of scrimmage. I've got a buddy of mine that actually works on Georgia's staff, like in a support role. But, I talk to him every now and then. He just told me, he's like, dude, we're just so good. Like, we're just so good. And it's funny. I shouldn't enjoy listening to Kirby Smart talk as much as I do being a Gamecock, and I shouldn't enjoy it, but I love what he stands for as a head coach. He proved me wrong. I used to say that Kirby Smart was just Will Muschamp with a better roster. And he, like I said, he most certainly proved that wrong. He's doing a great job with them, and I don't see Georgia going away anytime soon. But I think they're the team to beat. I think they should be the team to beat. I think they will take care of business against Ohio State. How good is Ohio State really? I don't know. I mean, again, they got blasted by Michigan. I think it's probably Georgia, Michigan in the final. But I mean, listen, could Georgia lose? Sure, but I'm not betting against the Dogs. I can tell you that right now. So.
Yeah, and I'm not even, like I said, I'm not super into college sports. I'm more of a professional guy, but I mean, it's almost like they're the Bama of this year. They're the team that's just fucking. They got the biggest dick. They're gonna whip it out and fucking.
Kirby worked on Saban's staff, and he took a lot from Bama and brought it to Georgia, and I mean that makes a lot of sense. I mean, they are kind of the new version of Alabama, and that's again It's the Bama argument is just, Bama shot themselves in the foot, man. They could have been there, but it's not even only they lost to LSU and Tennessee. They look so bad in their wins too, and it's about style points. And when only 4 teams get in the playoff, it's about style points. But
right, do you think this is kind of like the end of towards Alabama's run? Do you think this is like are we seeing like the downfall, so to speak?
I don't know if I'm willing to go that far, just because nobody's ever gotten rich betting against Nick Saban. So I just it's still Alabama. It's still Bama. It's still Bama. But I think what you are seeing is I think the transfer portal is bringing a little bit more parity to college football. I just guys don't want to. There's no glory in riding the bench, right? So going to Bama and waiting 3 or 4 years, that used to be the cool thing to do. I don't think it is anymore. You're seeing a mass exodus at a school like a Bama. Guys again that want to go play. So again, it helps schools like a South Carolina. It benefits the Gamecocks. You know what I mean? Those type of schools. And I mean, it's, listen, I mean, you'd love to be in a position where it's like we have an embarrassment of riches. Guys are going to want to transfer because we have so many good players they can't all play. But no, I until we really see Bama fall off a cliff, I'm not gonna be the guy that's gonna go out there and say that they're done. This is LSU's division now. Like it's.
Just out of, I don't know if you know off the top of your head, when's the last time Bama wasn't in the top 4?
Yeah, this is the first time ever that the playoff has not featured Bama or Clemson. This is the first time ever. So
both of those schools.
Yeah, right. Both.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I mean, Bama just seemed like the fucking number one every single year. Now Georgia came in and just absolutely, ransacked the whole year. So to me, in my perspective, it seemed like, I don't know, maybe Bama's sort of taken a little downfall.
I think it'll take more than 1 year, though. I mean, I guarantee you, when you look at the preseason rankings next year, Bama's going to be top 5. I mean, you know what I mean? It just But they lose a lot. I mean, Bryce Young will be gone, and but again, it's Bama. They've got 5 stars on 5 stars on 5 stars, and
it's true.
If you see Bama start to fall off in the recruiting rankings, which I don't have the 2023 rankings in front of me, but I guarantee you they're top 5 or top 10 at worst. That's when you can tell when a college program's starting to slip, and when recruiting starts to slip. because it's all about the Jimmies and Joes, right? It's more than the X's and O's. I mean, it's the teams. I mean, that's the funny thing is it's 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 the funny thing is the funny thing is it's 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 the.
Did we lose you, Chris?
Okay, I don't know what happened. Something glitched on my end. Sorry about that. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Sorry, I don't know what happened there. Anyways, yeah, no, Georgia's got the best players, and so I just if Bama's recruiting starts to fall off, then so be it. But no, I won't be the guy that says they're falling off the cliff quite yet.
Okay. Well, I don't want to take up too much of your time, Chris. I want to end it with one last question. It's kind of a, interesting question. Nothing about X's and O's, or like you say, nothing about Jimmy's or Joe's. So last Saturday, you dropped a post on Twitter. It was about you. You're talking about you predicting Carolina's record. You familiar with that?
I believe so. Yes.
Okay. And I quote, you say, "I'd drop this mic if it wasn't connected. Where are the slapdicks at?
Yeah.
Where are the slapdicks? This is not a hobby. We do this for a living. Confirmed, not a hobby." Now I just got one question. Where is slapdicks a Southern term?
That was a bar, by the way.
I absolutely, I honestly screen recorded it and sent it immediately to my group chat on Snapchat because that is just the funniest fucking thing I've ever heard.
That's a fucking bar. No, so the origin of slapdick. It's so funny. So many people think I stole it from Coach Jason Brown that was in the Last Chance U show, and I know he said it, and he's made like kind of a brand out of it, but. No, dude, the first time I ever heard it, I don't know that it's really a Southern thing. First time I ever heard it was when I was in college. My college baseball coach, shout out Nick Brannon, who was our pitching coach back then. And he eventually left and went on to be like an area scout for the Cardinals. But no, he was the first one I ever heard say it. And he just threw it out one day. Just, yeah, fucking slap dick. And that stuck with me. Like it's funny. It's not like it's forever in my life been a word I use in my vocabulary. Really where it started, though, or where it became like part of my content was the 2021 Gamecocks baseball. It was their season, and Carolina played the Citadel. They were on the road, and South Carolina's down like 9-6 in the 8th inning, and the Citadel's just all these antics, bro, and like their pitchers doing the freaking suck it sign, like just all kinds of shit. Carolina comes back and wins the game because they get fired up in the dugout, comes back, wins like 10-9. And after the game, I was like, great win, what a comeback. And then it just organically came to my head. I was like, but I was like, when it comes to the Citadel, I was like, I've never seen a bigger group of slapdicks on a baseball field. Like at the end of the game. And I don't know why the word slapdick came to me, but it did. And from then on, my audience was just like, they were tweeting slapdick and saying slapdick. And then it became a part of my content during baseball season, slapdick of the weekend. Like, who's the biggest fucking idiot, the biggest jerk off. And then it carried over into football too. So we do slapdick of the weekend segments during the seasons and stuff, and just kind of highlight some of the shenanigans that take place. But yeah, dude, slapdick is, shout out to Nick Brannon. He's what a legend he is. But yeah,
back
to college, yeah.
That is hilarious. I appreciate that one. That was just so funny to me once I heard that, dude. I was like, I'm about to have this guy on the show. I have to fucking ask where the hell that came from. Well, Chris, man, I appreciate your time and everything you've mentioned. Absolutely, still flabbergasted you even came on. Appreciate your time, man. I just want to give my respects to you. So thank you so much.
Dude, I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. Again, truly, genuinely appreciate the opportunity, and keep grinding, man, for sure. Yep. Anytime you need anything, let me know.
Absolutely, man. Have a good day.
All right, brother. You too.
Yep. All right, welcome back, folks. I hope you enjoyed that interview with Chris Phillips. Remember, if you want to follow him on anything, I'll put his links up right here. Great guy. I mean, it was absolutely phenomenal that he even took on an interview with such a I don't want to fucking sound like a piece of shit, but we're a low-level talk show right now. We're growing. TBloom Nation's growing by the fucking second, but it's cool to see someone like him taking on an interview from a fucking talk show like us. TBloom Nation, I hope you enjoyed it. Remember, you can follow him at everything right here. I'll fucking put it up for you. It'll be right there. Ning. But yeah, Chris Phillips, everybody. I hope you enjoyed. Let's get moving on with more predictions from this Sunday's games. We're going to start off with the Cleveland Browns, Cincinnati Bengals. Now, here's a stat that I fucking guarantee you guys will not know. The Browns are on a current 5-game win streak against the Bengals. That's right. The Bengals haven't beaten the fucking Browns in 5 games. Isn't that amazing? That is absolutely the most bizarre thing ever. I would have never guessed that. And I want to pull up a stat here. It was on my phone. I saved it yesterday. Oh, how about T.O. trying to come back into the league? Dude, just fucking cut it. Just cut it. Okay. Okay, okay. Sorry about that, guys. There was just something I had to save on my phone. I'll bring it up in a second, but when we get to that point. But yeah, Cleveland Browns versus the fucking Cincinnati Bangies. The Tigers versus the Brownstains. Brownstains on a 5-game winning streak. Who the fuck would have thought that? The Brownstains come in with the number 25. They give up the... how can I put this stat? They're number 25 in opponents' TDs per game, which pretty much means they're not doing good with giving up TDs. They give up a lot. And on the other hand, you got the Bengals who make the 5th most TDs per game. Matchup issues right there, right? Collusion. That's illegal. You can't do that. I'm going to go with the Bengals just right off the rip because the Bengals just came in after beating the KC Chiefs, who I thought was the best team in the league. But you can't be the best team in the league losing to a goddamn 7-4 team. No offense, Cincinnati, but I mean, you know what I mean. I mean, Cincinnati is one of the better teams in the league, I believe. And I think they're going to show it here. I think they have all the reason to fucking really want to beat the Browns. Joe Burrow obviously hasn't been doing good against the Browns. And here's some trends for you. The Cincinnati Bengals have a -6 point spread. They are 9-3 overall, 4-1 at home, and 9-1 in their last 10. You look at the Cleveland Browns, 6-6 overall, 3-3 on the road, and 5-5 in their last 10. You got to take the Bengals at -6, baby. You got to think Joe Burrow's going to come out there slinging the ball like fucking Uncle Rico and Napoleon Dynamite, throwing it over hills. Maybe he overthrows a couple receivers. That's how juiced up he is. Who knows, okay? All I know is Cincinnati's going to take this one pretty handedly. We're rolling with the Bengals today. And speaking of Bengals, our second guest we'll have on, Jordan Heinz from the Sports Dude Heinz Show. He really focuses on the Bengals, but he's not afraid to talk a little, bigger picture stuff in the league. He's our Bengal expert. We're going to have him on at the end of the show. Just be ready for that, baby. Be ready for fucking Jordan Heinz coming on. Let's go, baby. Houston Texans, Dallas fucking Cowboys, the Battle of Texas. It doesn't happen very often, but goddamn it when it does, you know these two fucking teams are going to go all out to fucking secure that championship of the biggest football state in the country. That's right, I said it. They're not only the biggest fucking state in the country, the biggest football state in the country. I know I'm cussing a lot today, guys. I'm excited. I am who I am. I can't stop it, Uncle John. Don't show Abby this, okay? I cuss. Whoop-de-poo. Anyway, who's going to win? Houston, Texas, Dallas, Cowboys. Houston, 10-1. Dallas, 9-3. I know what you're thinking. God, the fucking records don't match up. TBloom, what are you talking about records for? The fucking Battle of Texas, that doesn't mean anything. The fucking record, fuck the records. Throw everything out the fucking window. Battle of Texas. Who's going to do it? Give me the fucking Texans, baby. I'm taking the fucking Texans. Fuck the Dallas Cowboys. We're rolling with Texans, baby. Texans. They're going to get back on track. I don't know how the fuck they're going to do it, but they're going to fucking do it. And Dallas is known to fucking shit their pants every once in a while. Fuck, even Dallas fans know that shit. We're rolling with the Houston Texans this week, baby. AFC, let's go. Rise up. Rise up. Houston fucking Texans by 1,000,000. Next game. Get this shit out my fucking face. Las Vegas versus the LA Rams. Let's just talk about that a little bit. Baker Mayfield, what the fuck? I love it. First of all, great shit coming back and da-da-da-bing-da-da-boo-da-da-ba. Oh, you fucking revitalized your career. Great shit. But guess what? Who told you wear 17? Don't you have a fucking, what do they call those? People who dress you up. A fucking, let me look that shit up. Dresses up people. When in doubt, Google it out. Oh, fuck it. Don't you have a stylist, you stain? 17? Ew. You almost ruined the comeback with that fucking number. Jesus fuck, Baker. Put a fucking single digit on you. Fucking A. 17. What the fuck is that? Who was the last quarterback to be good wearing number 17? Ryan Tannehill? Who the fuck wears 17 as a QB? That's just absolutely bizarre. Anyway, let's just dial it back. Fucking the Vegas Raiders are a shithouse. Josh McDaniels, what the fuck? You're done. Baker Mayfield revitalized his career, baby. Shout out Bake. Bake the Snake Mayfield. Let's move on to another prediction, though. New York Jets versus the Buffalo Bills. Battle of New York, right? You got on one side the New York Jets, and on the other side the Buffalo Bills. Last time the New York Jets beat this team. What will happen this time? I don't know, guys. I don't know. Fucking chalk it up in the air. The last time they played, the Jets won 20-17. Pretty big statement win. They're sitting at 7-5. They really need this fucking win. The Buffalo Bills sitting at 9-3. They really need this win. They want to keep that number 1 seed in the AFC. It's getting stanky, man. These are some stank matchups, man. Buffalo, I think, is going to pull it out, though, and I really need Buffalo to win to keep the Steelers' playoff hopes alive. And we as Steelers fans, we need the Jets to lose like a motherfucker. Because, yeah, we don't own the tiebreaker with them. Pretty much Pittsburgh has to win out, and the Jets have to lose like 3 out of the last 5 games, which is fucking, could happen. Fucking sue me. I mean, it's the fucking NFL. But, yeah, the New York Jets, Buffalo Bills, I'm going to have to roll with the Bills here. I mean, assuming Josh Allen's arm isn't completely shot up and tore up like a fucking mongoose, I'm going to assume that they're going to be rolling in. They got revenge on their mind, and, oh, shit. I've been getting nosebleeds. Anybody else been getting fucking nosebleeds out of nowhere? I mean, it's got me fucking WebMD and shit thinking I got leukemia or something. It's fucking scaring me, man. It's scaring me, okay? Side note. But yeah, I'm going to roll with the Buffalo Bills, man, because how could you not? They're finally back at a home game. They've had a tough last month on all their away games. They're finally back home. They're going to be playing in front of Bills Mafia. Tables will be broken, chairs will go over the top of people's heads, and the Buffalo Bills will roll with it. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be a fucking blowout by any means, but I guarantee you, oh, geez, this is a fucking 9-point spread. Holy fuck. Here's some stats. New York Jets, 7-5 overall against the spread, 4-2 away when they're on the road, 6-4 in their last 10. You got the Buffalo Bills, 6-5-1 overall, 2-2 at home. How the fuck are they 2-2 at home? Oh, yeah, 2-2 at home and 4-5-1 over their last 10. This 9-point spread's way too much for this game. Take New York Jets with the points, the +9. I guarantee you it's going to happen. Mike White's going to come in there. He's going to whip out his dick for the pissing contest, and he's not going to be 9 points short. I can tell you that right now. That was pretty gay, but you guys know what the fuck I mean. I mean, it's fucking, you get what I'm saying here with the fucking riff. Fuck. All right, Buffalo Bills. Let's see any under trends. Here's some under trends. New York Jets 5-7 overall, 3-3 on the road, 4-6 over the last 10. Buffalo Bills 3-9 overall, 2-2 at home, 2-8 over their last 10. So let's take the under 44 points. I like the under here. 2 defenses that are fucking great. I know the Buffalo Bills got a great offense, but the New York Jets don't have a great offense, and they're going to have to keep this a low-scoring game in order to have any chance, and I think they will. Roll with the New York Jets plus the 9 and take the under for a goddamn TBloom parlay. How about that? Showing some parlays today. All right. Oh, shit. Sorry about that, folks. All right. Did we already do that? Oh, fucking get that shit out my face. Get that fucking shit out my face. Next game, Kansas City Chiefs, Denver Broncos. Let's go to some stats. This is the fucking biggest stat that I could find. Denver hasn't beat Kansas City since 2015. Hasn't beat... Kansas City has beaten Denver Broncos. Let me say that again. Let me rephrase that. I'm not saying it clear enough. The Kansas City Chiefs have beat the Denver Broncos every fucking game since 2015. Since Peyton Manning was in the league. Holy shite. Shite me out and call me a sandwich, that's impressive. I mean, to beat any team, especially in your division, consistently for 7 fucking years is remarkable. And holy fuck, I couldn't believe that when I seen it. Anyway, let's get to some more stats. Denver's got the number 3 passing D in the league. Kansas City, they got the number 1 passing offense in the league. Denver, number 5 in giveaways per game. Kansas City, number 24 in takeaways per game. I don't even know why I just said that stat, but it needed to be said. It was in the notes, and it must be said if it's in the notes. Let's take a look at this. Let's take a step back and look at this. You got the fucking Russell Wilson-led fucking shit stains versus the fucking Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes-led Chiefs. Fucking whatever. God, I mean, something is really telling me the Denver Broncos are going to win this. Because how do you fucking lose for 7 years straight against a team in your division? I gotta double check that, guys. I don't lie when I write this shit down. I don't lie, but it's making me really fucking double check my shit. Because how the fuck do you lose to your fucking division rival fucking 7 years straight? It just doesn't make sense. I could have felt like that this was a bigger rivalry than that. Let's check it. No, it's fucking true. It's fucking true. I mean, fucking... Yeah, it's true. Guys, we're going to roll with the Denver Broncos right here, and I don't even fucking know why, but it's got to stop sometime, right? It's got to fucking end sometime. They're not going to just lose for the rest of their fucking history. Jesus, fuck. Let's take a look at some trends. The over-under right now sits at 43 in terms of what I can see, what I printed out. Over-under is 43. The Chiefs are 5-7 overall, 4-2 away, and 4-6 over their last 10. And then you take a look at the Broncos. They're 1-11 overall. They're 0-5 at home, and they're 1-9 over their last 10. I'm gonna go with the under, man. I think this is gonna be a fucking... Denver's going to be playing something crucial, and I know Russell's got some magic, just a little hint of magic left in him. Please, Russie, please give me some fucking little hint of magic against the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, you can't just go from being what you were in Seattle to just being a shit stain like you are right now in Denver. It baffles me. So we're going to roll with the Denver Broncos, and I might sound like a piece of shit when I say that, but I don't care. We're going to roll with the goddamn Denver Broncos. Next game, the Tampa Bay Bucks versus the San Francisco 49ers. Now, I don't know if you guys have been keeping up with any 49er shit, but there's this guy named Brock Purdy who's at the helm now, who I guess they call him Big Cock Brock. And that's been co-signed by 3 individuals: Kyle Shanahan, George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, all fucking wrote off. Yeah, the guy's got big cojones. He's got big ones. Bigger than fucking Jimmy G's porn star's girlfriend's titties. It's an analogy you can use. That's good. You got to admit, that was pretty good. But yeah, the 49ers reportedly have been referring to Brock Purdy as Big Cock Brock. Here's another interesting one. I'm not even sure if it's real. I might be getting fucking slapdick sports. I might be getting slapdick sports right now. But here's a quote. If you're talking... Now, this is Trent Williams talking about Brock Purdy. He said, if you're talking, he'll say, shut your ass up. He ain't no timid rookie feeling his way around. He'll get on your ass. You would think he's like Peyton Manning or something. Now, I know the fucking San Francisco 49ers thought they had to give up all those picks to draft Trey Lance to get their franchise QB, but they might have just found him in the fucking wake of a double injury. If you got a double injury to the QB position, first trade goes down, then Jimmy G goes down. Is Brock Purdy the future? We'll see. He's got the Tampa Bay Bucks. He's going against the fucking GOAT today. He's going against the GOAT this weekend on Sunday. He's got a chance to fucking solidify himself as the number 1. And let's just check this out. Let's just work on this scenario a little bit. I want to know what you guys think, TBloom Nation. Let's say, hypothetically speaking, Brock Purdy goes to the Super Bowl and wins it. What do you do with Trey Lance? Does he come back in and fucking immediately start? Do you fucking say, hey, sucks to suck, Trey Lance, Brock Purdy's our guy? What do you do there? Do you just waive all those picks that you fucking gave up to get Trey Lance? I think you do. You have to. You have to. If Brock Purdy wins the fucking Super Bowl, you have to have him as a fucking QB for the next 3 years. Obviously, assuming he does fucking relatively decent. But you guys know what I mean. The 49ers have been in the most fucking uneasiest of predicaments this whole season at quarterback. Because it's like you want to do good, but you don't want to do too good to make it seem like you made a mistake with Trey Lance. I don't know. It's an interesting shit. On Tampa Bay side of the ball, they're number 5 in opposing points per game, meaning they only give up 18.3 points per game. That defense is stout, to say the least. On the other hand, you got the number 1 defense in terms of yards given up per game, and you got the number 1 defense in points per game in the San Francisco 49ers, only giving up 15.8. So you would be thinking, let's smash the under here. And you're right. Here's why. 49ers, or Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 2-10 against the over-under. Against the over. 0-6 on the road. That means they fucking never hit the over on the road. They're 2-8 over their last 10. San Francisco 49ers, 5-7 overall, 2-4 at home, and over their last 10, they're 5-5. So I'm smashing the under here. I think this is going to be a defensive battle. Maybe Brock does have big balls, but that don't mean he's going to put up points against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense. Tom Brady's been shitting his pants the whole fucking season after Giselle left him. It's tough. But we're going to smash the under, and we're going to take the San Francisco 49ers because they're just that damn good. All right, and this is going to transition us over to Jordan Heinz from the Sports Dude Heinz podcast. He's coming in hot. We're going to talk a little AFC North football. We'll talk about his process and his journey becoming a official voice of the Cincinnati Bengals and creating that Sports Dude Heinz podcast, and of course much, much more. Transition over. I hope you guys enjoy. Let's get the show rolling. Jordan Heinz, welcome to the TBloom Talk Show. I'm just going to say this right now. Absolutely ecstatic that you're on right now. It's really cool that you take some time out of your day to come on the talk show. I've been watching your stuff for about, I think, 6 months now, here and there. And really excited to have this conversation with you. Want to talk, some AFC North football. It's a big weekend for the AFC North right now, rivalry week. And but before we get into all that, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us who you are?
Oh yeah, thank you for having me. I really, appreciate you. Wanted me to be on the show and everything. Yeah, my name is Jordan Heinz. I'm host of the Sports Dude Heinz Show. I'm on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. Most of my content is Bengal-based videos or content. Occasionally, I'll do some other stuff as well. Here and there, you'll see me do some interviews. I haven't done something recently, but one of my recent interviews was with Bengals legend Icky Wood. So I'll occasionally get some big interviews here and now. But yeah, excited to talk about the AFC North and the NFL as we close to the playoffs. There's so much to talk about as we close to the playoffs.
Absolutely. And what exactly is this? So you kind of went over that. When did the Sports Dude Heinz show start? Like, kind of how did that all get put together, and what was the process involved in that?
It'll be 2 years ago next Thursday. So the 15th would make it 2 years, I think.
Oh, really nice.
So it's interesting because I have a Bengals fan page with over 20,000 followers. I did a Bengals podcast. Looking back, it was terrible. It was one of those things. Now I feel like I'm much better with myself. And when I did my Bengals podcast, it was one of those things. I just didn't want to talk about the Bengals because I know lots of other things aside from the Bengals as well. So I kind of branched out, the Sports Dude Heinz Show. It's my username for most of the things I'm on. So yeah, I've been doing that for about 2 years now. It's been pretty good. Early stages was not so good. It's one of those things. Looking back, you're light years ahead. What you were compared to 2 years ago. More about videos, more about posting, different things like that. But yeah, most of it is football, and most of the football is Bengals. But yeah, mostly Bengals content and maybe occasional college football as well. But most of the sports is pretty much just football at this point.
Cool. And like, so in terms of your future goals, or, where do you kind of see yourself? I'm not saying give me a 5-year plan or anything, but like, what are kind of some of the next steps in terms of the Sports Dude Heinz Show that you would like to see in the near future?
My ultimate goal, I live in Huntington, West Virginia. It's where Marshall's campus is located, where Randy Moss played college. And there's not a huge market here for anything sports. The closest really big market is Cincinnati. But my ultimate goal, whether it's maybe go to Cincinnati, get bigger, or maybe just stay here and, kind of get more popular around my own area. My ultimate goal is to kind of be a local Pat McAfee. I always show as, sports, entertainment, stuff like that, tell funny stories, have some entertaining interviews, a little bit of everything. That would be my ultimate goal, kind of have my own kind of a TV show / radio show and kind of be like the McAfee, my own area.
Oh yeah, dude, fucking Pat McAfee. That guy's just killing it right now. And you can tell he has a lot of fun doing it. That's what I think attracts what a lot of people to him is he's not only talking about sports, doing all that, but he's having a ton of fun doing it. And yeah, that's awesome, man. Really, really excited to have you on the show. Like I said, we're going to get into some AFC North football talk, but before you do that, just give me 1 second. Just 1 second. I had to match the energy, dude. You came in with the Cincy bang. I was like, God damn it, I got to throw the Steeler jersey on. Heath Miller, by the way. So I'm a real fan. I'm not just some scrub Steeler fan. But yeah, man, let's get into some AFC North football talk. Rivalry weekend. You got the Steelers versus the Ravens, and then you got the Bengals versus the Browns. Just kind of let's just set it straight right now. Let's give the rankings of the worst to first of the AFC North football teams. I'll give you mine, then you kind of chime in and tell me where I went wrong, or even if I did go wrong. So number one, you guys got it. Bengals are definitely the number one. Big win last week against the Kansas City Chiefs, who I know you share the same thing, thought that they're definitely the number one team in football. You guys went out, beat them for the third time in 2022. You guys are number one. Two, now I'm going to say this, without Lamar Jackson, I may be biased as shit, because, I that's just who I am. It's hard for me to not be. I'm going to go Pittsburgh because Lamar Jackson's not there. The Ravens haven't even been playing good ball with Lamar Jackson. And there's a lot of questions surrounding that defense. So I'm going to go to Pittsburgh. Number three, I'll go the Ravens because their record, and it's just hard for me to put the Browns better than the Ravens right now, even with Deshaun Watson. And honestly, I think Deshaun Watson has bring that team down a bit. I thought Jacoby Brissett was pretty much what they needed in order to be the best football team that they can be. He doesn't do too much. He makes the plays he needed to, makes the throws he needs to, and he hands the ball off. And that's when they're playing at their best. So yeah, we'll go 1 Bengals. I'm going 2 Pittsburgh, 3 Ravens, and then 4 the Browns. What do you think?
The Bengals, I'm not biased at all. If people watch my videos before, I tell it how it is. I try my best not to be biased. The Bengals are number one, and it's not even remotely close. Mm-hmm. The gap between the Bengals and anybody else is huge. There's a closer gap between the Ravens and the Steelers and the Bengals and the Ravens. The Ravens are the most overrated team in football. Every single time I'm on my show, I mention the Ravens. I go on a big old rant about how overrated they are. They're for this year and last year, everybody talks about how good they are. They're not built for the playoffs. They're the most overrated team by far. I want to say the Bengals won. The Ravens, you mentioned Jackson. Even with Jackson, I don't think this team is dangerous at all. Like if Jackson played against Pittsburgh this week, I still think Pittsburgh wins handily against Baltimore. But I want to say Baltimore because the Steelers are one of those teams you can never count them out. Because year in and year out, even when they're down, they'll surprise you with a victory. I mean, look at when they beat the Buccaneers, when they beat the Bengals week 1. I'm going to say the Ravens too, but I think the Steelers can beat them this week. Let's see. I want to say the Steelers 3 and the Browns 4. But honestly, I feel like even 2, 3, and 4, you can make a case or at least an argument that all 3 of those teams are way closer than people think, in my opinion.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I mean, it's almost like it depends on what week you're looking at, because there's some weeks where, God damn it, the Browns look damn near like, easily better than the Ravens. And then there's some weeks where it's like, geez, the Browns are the Browns. And then you look at the Ravens. I mean, they're barely winning games. They're not very dynamic on offense. I think Lamar Jackson has hit a year, and this personally, I've never been the biggest fan of Lamar Jackson, maybe because he's a Ravens, player or whatever. But I just think his play style doesn't really, his value goes down as the years go by. Like he's an athletic QB, relies on his running ability to make plays. He's never been the best passer, and he never will be the best passer. So it's kind of like driving a new car off the lot. The more you drive it, the more the value of it goes down. So, yeah, I know what you mean in the sense of there's definitely a huge gap from 2 to 1, but from 2, 3, and 4, it's kind of up in the air. See depending on what week it is. So with that being said, predictions on how it will end. How do you think it'll all end in terms of, who will be number one? Let's just get this out the way. The Bengals will probably be number one. Okay. Do you think the Steelers snag the 2 position, or how do you think it's all going to finish out?
Well, right now the Bengals and the Ravens are both 8-4. Like you said, the Bengals will win a division. The Ravens, even if Jackson's healthy, I still think it's possible they could finish with a 3 seed. This is one of the situations last year, when the Bengals won a division, it's because Jackson got hurt. And we're going to hear this excuse, the Bengals are going to win the division because Jackson got hurt. It had nothing to do with that. I mean, Jackson's overrated. Obviously, their decline in play will drop some, but I don't think it drops as much as people think. When you look at the Steelers and the Ravens still have to play 3 divisional matchups. The Steelers, if they can get on a little streak, we're talking about Pittsburgh. They're definitely capable of doing it. We could see a situation where the Steelers could possibly finish as the number 2 seed in the AFC North. I really think it is possible. And it goes back to the beginning of the season. Everybody's talking about, the Ravens, the Browns. To me, heading into the season, the biggest threat of the Bengals was the Steelers. And even though the Steelers did beat us, week 1, even a couple weeks ago, you're talking about the Steelers. Up to that point, they did not score more than 20 points in an offensive game up to that point. They scored 30 against a good Bengals defense. Mm-hmm. The Steelers team is way better than people think. And I hate saying that because I hate Pittsburgh, but I tell it how it is. I try not to be biased.
Quick question. So this is interesting because I don't really have many. I live in Washington, so I don't really have many Bengals fans that I can, talk to, if any at all. So I'm kind of curious on your opinion. Who do you hate the most in AFC North? Because I have a list. I got like a ranking, but I'm curious on who do you hate the most?
Oh, it's the Steelers, not even close.
For sure? Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
100%.
Okay.
I feel like the Ravens, though, like the past year or two, I hate them more now than I ever have. I'm just so sick and tired of hearing Jackson this, the Ravens this. I mean, the Sunday night game, we played lights out against them. We lost because coaching. Like, we played so good. We shut them down. I just think they're not better than us. No matter what people say, we are by far the best team in the division. We are way better than them. But yeah, definitely Pittsburgh. I would say Pittsburgh, Baltimore, and then Cleveland.
Pittsburgh, Baltimore, and then Cleveland. Yeah. I mean, I feel like Cleveland's just like the little brother of everyone, like they just, they're like the little brother that has like a little, I don't know, like a little drug problem that just can't seem to get it right. They get all the talent in the world, and it just, for whatever reason, it does not pan out for them. And you guys got a big game going against them, 5 straight losses against them, which I just seen yesterday. That's pretty wild, all things considered. I didn't realize that was such the case. I know you mentioned on your podcast with your guest about how this is the team you have to scratch off the list that you're able to beat. Do you guys think you can do it this week? I mean, I know you guys can do it. Do you think you will, though?
This is going to sound really weird and kind of crazy. I feel like the Bengals have a better chance of beating Cleveland this upcoming week with Deshaun Watson starting opposed to Jacoby Brissett. And I know it sounds crazy. Watson played like crap against Houston. And we're talking about Houston's defense. It's terrible. But yes, that was like the Texans Super Bowl. That was the only game they circled on their calendar. But Watson played bad. It's going to take a couple of games to get the rust off them and get used to playing again. When you look at Jacoby Brissett, he played freaking amazing against us on Monday Night Football. He played 10 times better than Burrow did. And when Brissett, he's not going to be passing 30, 35 times a game like Watson. He's going to be handing it off to Kareem Hunt and Chubb, which really hurts the Bengals because when you look at the Bengals, they cannot stop Nick Chubb. He averages 100 rushing yards a game each on average when he plays against Cincinnati. He torched us on Monday night. But I would feel more comfortable playing I feel more comfortable playing Watson to Brissett. I think we will win the way we're playing right now. I mean, the Tennessee win was pretty impressive. Like without Mixon and Chase, we go in there, and not many people think we're going to win. Kansas City, by far our most impressive one of the season. Heading into the year, I absolutely did not think we were going to win that game because I mean that was a 100% of a game. The Chiefs circled it on the calendar, and they're going to get revenge, and somehow the Bengals still pull off a impressive victory, even though several things did not go their way without Joe Mixon. Now we're talking about the Browns. I think the streak should end this Sunday, but if it doesn't, this hurts the Bengals more than people think because now if it's a situation where the Bengals and the Ravens are tied, maybe at the towards the final week of the season, the Ravens will more than likely have a better divisional record. I mean, that would be 4 losses for the Bengals on the AFC North, which is just unheard of for a team who's currently 8-4 right now. But we can stop the run, which I think we'll be able to better because DJ Reader's back, one of the more underrated defenders. I mean, we held Derrick Henry to 2.2 rushing yards just a couple weeks ago. Our run defense is starting to pick it up a little bit. And if we start Nick Chubb playing against Cleveland, more than likely you're going to win. But I think the streak against us, losing to Cleveland will end on Sunday.
Yeah, I ultimately think it will too. I mean, like I said, it's really remarkable that you're on a 5-game losing streak for the Browns. I didn't realize that was the case, but yeah, I think you guys will too. If you had to say, I mean, this may be an obvious question because it's like excuse me, right, my nose real quick. This may seem like an obvious question, but what do you think the number one factor is going into this game in order to beat the Browns? What's the number one thing that has to happen for you guys? Is it Chubb?
I'm going to say the offensive line, but the offensive line has played super good the last 3 or 4 weeks. But the people on ESPN and NFL Network won't be talking about that. They're only going to be talking about when their offensive line sucks. On Monday night, their defense was amazing against us. They pressured us the whole game. And the limited times Burrow had a clean pocket, he played like complete crap that game. Jonah Williams against Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett, arguably the best defender in the league. Jonah Williams is terrible. The Bengals have played 12 games. I think he's gave up 11 sacks this season. Like, he is not good at all. One of the worst left tackles in the league. And, he gave up a couple of sacks against Garrett on Monday Night Football. If Burrow only gets sacked like once, I think we have a very, very high percentage chance of winning. I feel like that's the main thing. A good offensive line opposed to stopping the run.
Yeah, I agree. When you guys, it sucks. For Joe Burrow, I mean, he's never really had the best O-line in any of his years. You guys have, unfortunately, have not put together the best O-line for him. And he's still been able to come out and dominate. And, I mean, it hasn't really halted you guys' success at all because you guys went to the Super Bowl last year. So, I mean, what he's able to do without the best O-line is kind of exciting for you Bengal fans because it's like what happens when we do put together a top 5 O-line where we can run the ball a lot more efficiently, where we can have him stand in the pocket more. I think it's scarier as the years go on. You guys have a chance to develop that part of your team. I think you guys handled the Cleveland Browns. Who's home and who's away on that?
The Bengals are at home.
Home? Okay. Yeah, you guys should handle it, man. I mean, there's no reason why you guys should lose this one. Let's make it a little bit more broader of a topic. Who do you think the number one team in the NFL is right now?
It's really tough because when you look at the records, people would say the Eagles and maybe the Vikings. Mm-hmm. The last 2 weeks have shown the Bengals. I don't really want to say the Bengals because I do not like to be biased, but there's arguably not a more impressive victory than last week against the Chiefs. The Chiefs were the best team heading into this past week. It wasn't a debate. And the Bengals beat them when not many people thought they were going to. Non-Bengal fans, you do not think they were going to beat the Chiefs again 3 times in a row. It's crazy. Without Chidobe Awuzie, without Joe Mixon, and they do it. The Bengals, this is just like last season. The teams who are best towards the end of November and beginning of December, more than likely going to be the best teams heading into the postseason. I feel like right now the Bengals can beat the Eagles. They can beat the Vikings. If they can beat the Chiefs, they can beat anybody. I guess I want to see the Bengals, but I try not to be biased. But when you look at the last 2 weeks, man, it's tough, kind of hard not to say Cincinnati.
Yeah, I mean, you guys definitely have an argument. I mean, it's hard to say you guys can't be the number one team in the league after you beat the Chiefs. I've been an Eagle doubter this whole season, man. I've thought their record was just a little bit better than what they really are. Um, After last week's performance, man, I thought Tennessee was going to give them fits, man. I really did. I didn't see them blowing out the Tennessee Titans. So for me, seeing them do that to Tennessee, which is one of the more better coached teams in the league, I have to, I have to go the Philadelphia Eagles just because they've just been so dominant. Now, will that be the case come towards, like you said, the end of the year? We'll see. But as of right now, I think I have to go the Eagles. You got to throw the Bills in the conversation, right? I mean, Josh Allen, questions with his arm, obviously. But if he's at 100% and he's playing at that MVP caliber level, the fucking Bills are a juggernaut team, man. It's tough to play them, especially in Buffalo. Like you mentioned in your podcast, you don't want to fucking face Buffalo in the goddamn cold against Josh Allen in that environment. So when we take a look at this early playoff picture, and we can pretty much, the Bills are going to make it, Chiefs are going to make it, Bengals are going to make it, the Tennessee is going to win that division. What are some wild card teams, or if you may not even have any, but if you do, what are some wild card teams that you might be afraid of seeing in the postseason?
Well, one, even though we're wild card right now, one is not Baltimore. And I've kind of said this just a couple of days ago. If the Bengals were a wild card, but if we played Baltimore, I would be content with it because that's like a for sure win for us type of deal. But obviously, you don't really want to be a wild card, having a chance to play in Kansas City again, Buffalo, those type of places. But look, under the radar, wild card teams, I'd be kind of nervous about playing. I feel like the Dolphins have to be in that list because, I mean, Tua just had his really first regular season loss this past against the 49ers. Yeah, he had a loss against Cincinnati, but he did not even play a full half that game. And I'm one of the very few non-biased Bengals like shows or podcasts, whatever. And I still do not know if the Bengals won that game if Tua doesn't get hurt. And this would be kind of be like a revenge game for Miami if they come to Cincinnati again, came there on Thursday Night Football. Waddle, Tyreek Hill, arguably the best wide receiver duo in the league this season right now. But I would probably have to say Miami as of right now.
Yeah, Miami, man, they fucking came on strong. Mike McDaniel, he's done a great job with that group over there on the offensive side of the ball. I'm thinking like the Jets, man. This team, I think Tom Saleh's really did a great job with the New York Jets, a franchise that's almost not as bad as the Cleveland Browns because they've had a little bit more success, but they're almost like it. They've had top 5 draft picks every year, it seems like, for the last 10 plus years. And they're finally starting to put all the pieces together and create a team that's actually fucking pretty good. They beat Miami. They beat the Buffalo Bills. I mean, those are 2 juggernaut teams right there. I don't know if I want to see them in the playoffs. I mean, because they're going to have nothing to lose. They're going to have everything to gain from everything, and they're really going to have nothing to lose. So what's your opinion on the Jets? Do you think they're a little bit higher than they should be, or what do you think about them?
To me, they're still kind of like I don't know really what to think of them. They're kind of a question mark to me because one day they do look really good, another day is not so much. They're going to have a consistent quarterback, even a quarterback with just 200 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah.
Basically what Pittsburgh wanted from Trubisky this season. Turnover-free football, a game manager. If you get a game manager for the Jets, the way they're playing right now on defense, they will be very hard to beat. But Mike White, he's inconsistent. Zach Wilson, you don't know if he's going to even be starting anymore the rest of the year.
That guy's a shit show, man. I mean, Jesus Christ. But
yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no. Keep going.
But with Mike White, it's one of those situations where we've seen in the past quarterbacks will have one really good game, and then after that they decline big time. Look at Mike White against the Bengals last season. He threw for 400 yards. That is deceiving because 172 of those yards were to running backs. They were just 3 or 4 yard passes and stuff like that. The following week against the Colts, he played absolutely horrible. He got hurt their third string quarterback, Josh Johnson, came in. He played better than Mike White. I know White has shown at times he can be good, but he's still very, very inconsistent. But if you're the Jets, you do not really want a team heading into the playoffs when your quarterback is led by Mike White. I feel like when you're having Mike White go against Burrow, Allen, Mahomes, the odds of you winning that game are extremely low.
Yeah, I agree. The questions at the quarterback is really their downfall. Zach, I mean, if Mike White, with all due respect to Zach Wilson, but Mike White's definitely the better play right now. I mean, every time I see Zach Wilson play, and you guys played the Jets earlier this year, right? Yeah. Zach Wilson, was he playing?
It was Flacco because Wilson was hurt.
Oh, early. Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay, well, when we played Zach Wilson, that was his first game back, and man, he's good at escaping pressure in the pocket, but what he does after he escapes pressure and doesn't get sacked is just he makes so many forced throws, and I don't know if it's because he's antsy. I don't know if that's the way he played at BYU coming out of college or whatnot, but yeah, they need a more stable piece on the QB side of things. And I think honestly, Jimmy G would be the perfect fucking quarterback for that team right now. And maybe we see that happen, but let's move on to some possible MVP candidates. Who does Jordan Heinz think is the MVP right now? If the season ends today.
Not Burrow, like most Bengal fans think. I want to get that out of the way.
He's in the top 5 discussion, at least.
I think he's top 5, but I just don't think he should win it right now. Like, when you look at Burrow, he's one of the, like, when you look at MVP, most valuable to your team, he is certainly up there. But let's also look at the fact that Joe Burrow got outplayed by Mitchell Trubisky, who lost his starting job, Cooper Rush, Teddy Bridgewater, Jacoby Brissett. There's been several games where Joe Burrow has just absolutely played like crap, against quarterbacks who are average at the absolute best. Burrow this past several weeks has really picked it up, but I'm still going to say Mahomes. I said a couple weeks ago, I still think Mahomes will win MVP the way he's played right now. There's not a better quarterback in the league right now. Yes, Burrow has played better the past couple of weeks, but on the overall season, Mahomes has outplayed Burrow by a lot. It's like when you look at Mahomes is not going to have an off day like getting outplayed by Jacoby Brissett. If he did, it would happen like once a year.
Right.
Burrow's had 4 of those games. So to me, that's kind of like the deciding factor that right now I'm going to say Mahomes over Burrow for the MVP. Where's
Jalen Hurts fit in this conversation? Does he at all?
He's in the top 5. I would probably put him at maybe 2 or 3. He's behind Mahomes. He's kind of around there with Burrow in the top 5 or so.
Mm-hmm. I'm absolutely, because honestly, I wasn't big on Jalen Hurts. I think it was either last year or the year before that where I think it was last year in the playoffs where he just completely fucking, I think it was to Tampa Bay, just absolute shit his pants in the playoff game. And I thought that would carry over into the next season and he would be just like these other running quarterbacks who come in the league and they get figured out and they get tape on them and stuff like that. But man, that guy is just playing out of his mind right now. So we'll see if he can keep it up when the playoffs come. One last question that just popped in my mind. Do you think Justin Herbert is overrated?
See, that's an interesting question because I'm one of the very few Bengal fans who like Herbert a lot. My favorite quarterbacks, Burrow, Herbert's probably right behind him. It's interesting because when you look at Herbert last season, like it's so weird. Every single time Burrow has a good game or every single time Herbert has a good game on Twitter, everybody's, oh, Burrow's better than Herbert. Herbert's better than Burrow. There's this discussion's always going to happen. But when you look at Herbert, he has a much, much, much better offensive line than Burrow. He had Corey Linsley and Rashawn Slater. There's no reason he should be playing this bad. Yes, he's had some injuries on offense, but if Justin Herbert is a top 5-7 quarterback like people think, he should be stepping up. Look at Burrow last season. Burrow was the most sacked quarterback in the league. Yes, he has a ton of weapons, arguably the best skill position players on any team in the league. But at some point, Herbert needs some accountability. Last season, people thought the Chargers were going to be in the playoffs. This season, the Chargers had Super Bowl expectations.
Yeah.
Now they might not even make the playoffs again. At what point do people start putting the blame on Herbert? He's great, but he is not playing nearly as good as he should be this season.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, he's had a lot of injuries at receiver. Mike Williams has been out for a while. Keenan Allen, that guy can't stay healthy to save his life. But yeah, man, that's a question. Like, I don't even know how to answer it myself because, yeah, the guy's got all the fucking talent in the world. It's just, can he put it together to create winning games? You know, he's got the stats to back it up, but it's just, it seems like every year the Chargers are this team that everyone expects to be legit. And they come in and now they're sitting at 6-6 right now, and they're fighting for a playoff spot. It's just one of those things. It's an interesting question, but I don't know, Jordan, do you have any topics you'd like to discuss or anything you want to say to TBloom Nation out there?
Who, as of right now, who would be your Super Bowl pick?
If I had to put money on it, I think it's going to be in the AFC for sure. I don't think the NFC teams are nearly as good as the AFC this year. God, I'll go Bills, man. Because here's the thing with the Bills, they arguably should have been in the fucking Super Bowl last year. If it wasn't for a 17-second comeback by Mahomes in that whole scenario, they would have went to the Super Bowl and played you, or not to the Super Bowl, to the AFC Championship, played you guys, and I think they would have won that game, but that's pretty biased. But the way that if they play at the highest of levels that they're capable of, and Josh Allen is hitting on all cylinders, and that defense is absolutely like, even if Josh Allen's not on that team, that team's still going to be good because of that defense. They're like top 5 in almost any category you look at. And their coach is, I think he's top 5 coach in the league. I mean, I have a lot of respect for him, and they're hungry. You know, the way they lost last year, they still have that fresh in the back of their mind. They're a hungry team, and they can put up points against absolutely any team in the league. So I at this point, I'm going to say the Bills, assuming Josh Allen's arm isn't just totally shot. But yeah, I'm going to go the Bills. I mean, obviously the Bengals have a chance. I mean, you guys caught fire last year and made it happen and ran through some good AFC teams there. But yeah, I'd have to go the Bills. And I also wanted to tell you my ranking for my most hated AFC North. So number 1, it's got to be the Ravens. Fuck the Ravens. Can't stand them. Get them out. Number 2 is the Browns. And number 3, the Bengals. I hate you guys the least. I'm going to be honest with you. At one point when you guys were going to the Super Bowl, I was this close. It's 20 minutes up until the Super Bowl. I was like, I kind of want the Bengals to win. Then obviously the AFC North factor kicked in. I was like, no, I can't have that happen. I can't have that happen for a year. But I do want to say the Bengals have been one of my least hated AFC North teams in my life. I really like your guys' jerseys. It's awesome. But yeah. Anything else you wanted to mention or discuss?
Yeah, talking about the Super Bowl, I think there's an absolutely 0% chance the Super Bowl winner comes from the NFC, because the Eagles, they're playing good in the regular season. Like you said, what we saw from the postseason last year, that's an early indication they're out. The Vikings, Cousins is not playing at 1 p.m. He's terrible. The Cowboys, year in and year out.
That's like the weirdest thing.
It makes no sense.
Yeah.
But with the Cowboys, I'm just going to say they're out. They are year in and year out. All the Super Bowl, NFC Championship game, they can't win a playoff game to save their life. How are they going to go to the Super Bowl? I mean, with the NFC is just, there's so many teams that's just, there's no really team that stands out. Look at the AFC, with the way the rankings are right now and the standings is, I love the way the Bengals are playing. I think the Bengals can beat anybody right now, but if Buffalo gets home field advantage, I'm going to say Buffalo. I just really do not want to play Buffalo in Buffalo. That's already dangerous enough, with crazy fans and stuff like that. But if you get snowy weather and really cold weather and stuff like that, that can 100% change the outcome of a game. I feel like snowy weather and rainy, cold weather can change the outcome of a game. Could be more big of a factor than loud crowd noise. And the Bengals, they don't really have much experience playing in that. No AFC team really has a lot of experience. So I want to say Buffalo, because as the season continues, Allen's shoulder should be getting slowly better. And once he gets 100% healthy, and with this Bills defense, they're going to be nearly impossible to stop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the Bills, man, they're fucking nasty and they're hungry. The only team on the NFC that I was worried about until after last week was the, hold on. Sorry, man, I'm sick over here. Just fucking runny nose and stuff. But the San Francisco 49ers, that was a team I was scared about because if Jimmy G was on that team, that guy's got 1, experience. 2, I mean, he's been in that system for a while. 3, he's got a fucking elite defense behind him. That's my NFC favorite for now. And I trust me, I do not want the San Francisco 49ers winning a fucking Super Bowl. But if there's any team that would win a Super Bowl in the NFC, that's who I'd put my money on. But now we got Brock Purdy in there, and we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, that was my pick as well up until Garoppolo got hurt. It's one of those situations. I mean, they have everything. They have a great tight end, nice running backs, good wide receivers, great skill players in offense, great defense. Garoppolo, yeah, he's inconsistent, but if he just gets that 200 in the touchdown, they're not going to get beat. Like, he's the best game manager in the league by far. And you mentioned if he goes to the Jets, that would be insane. And as crazy as it sounds, the Jets, if they're playing this season, if you put Garoppolo in that team, they could be Super Bowl contenders. I mean, Garoppolo, they were in the NFC Championship game last year. And if the 49ers were a dropped interception away last season going to the Super Bowl. Like, people act like this, 49ers team, and Garoppolo aren't great. They've been in the NFC Championship game multiple times past couple of years. And as crazy as it sounds, they're one of the more underrated teams in the league because they've proven time and time they can continue to get there.
Yeah, I agree, man. And because I'm a Steeler fan, I cannot. I have a Niner fan, and one of my best friends is a Niner fan, and I can't let him get to 6 Super Bowls. I've had that dynamic over him my whole life. I cannot afford that. So it sucks to see Jimmy G go from a fan standpoint, but it definitely lessens their chances to win the Super Bowl and make that punch in the playoffs. Jordan, I just wanted to say, as my time's running down here on Zoom, I don't have the pro version, so we only got 45 minutes, but just wanted to say I absolutely appreciate you coming on the show, taking some time out of your day to talk some football. It means the world to me. You're in TBloom's good graces for as long as I can see, buddy. Hope we can do it again sometime. Remember, if you want to check out Jordan Heinz, the Sports Dude Heinz Show, I'll put some links in the description, and I'll put some stuff up right here for you T-Bloomers out there. Jordan Heinz, absolutely wonderful, wonderful time. Thank you.
Oh, for sure. Thank you for having me. Like you mentioned, the Sports Dude Heinz Show on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. But yeah, I really appreciate, you having me, having, some good conversations and everything.
Absolutely, man. You take care. Have a good day.
All right, you too.
All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed that segment right there. Thank you again, Jordan. We'll see you soon, maybe. Maybe we'll have you back on. I don't know. You tell me. We'd love to have you on anytime. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Remember, you can follow him on Twitter at The Sports Dude Heinz Show. I'll put all this shit up right about here. Go follow him. Fucking give him a retweet. Give him a shout out. And fucking, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I love bringing on new guests for you guys to sit there and listen to. This is one of the best T-Bloom Talk Show episodes that I have ever been a part of and I've ever put together. I know Corporate was really, really pleased. Remember, Corporate gave me the ultimatum. I have to hit 100 subscribers on YouTube or I'm in big trouble. By the end of the month. By the end of the month, start of the new year. I might be in big trouble, guys. Who knows? Let's get on with it. Carolina Panthers, Seattle Seahawks. What a fucking boring one. You know what I mean? I mean, Seattle's just getting the easiest fucking games every week, it seems like. I fucking hate it. Geno Smith playing lights out football. Talked about him on my last podcast. It's probably going to continue here because Carolina can't do shit. And I thought this would be an even bigger spread than 3.5. If you look at the trends, Seattle's 6-6 against the spread overall, 3-2 at home, 5-5 over their last 10. Carolina 6-6 overall, 2-3 on the road, 6-4 over their last 10. I mean, I just think Seattle's going to win by a lot more than 3.5. You'd have to think, but no, especially at home, you really have to think. Yeah, I'm going to go with Seattle to win by 3.5 at least. Next game, Miami Dolphins versus the Los Angeles Chargers. Can someone say fucking shootout, dude? I mean, this one's got all the makings for a good old-fashioned Western shbang bang. You know what I mean? Fucking Miami Dolphins coming in at 8-4, Los Angeles Chargers 6-6. Fucking Los Angeles coming in at 6-6. What a bunch of fucking moolies, dude. I mean, unbelievable. How are you going to be this bad with this team? Justin Herbert, are you good or not? Because I can't tell. I can't fucking tell. I don't give a fuck what you... Yeah, okay, I coughed up a mucus and I fucking spit it out. Better than you fucking bozo swallowing the shit. Anyway, Los Angeles Chargers. What do we got? We got the Chargers 6-6. The Chargers are the 30th team in opposing points per game, meaning they give up the 30th most points per game at 25.8. And you got the fucking Miami Dolphins, who get the 8th most points per game at 24.9. The fucking Chargers, they're the 14th. They get the 14th most points per game at 24.1. Miami gives up the 25th most at 24.1. So this is a fucking over if I've ever seen one. I mean, I don't even got to look at the trends. The fucking over is being hit. Yeah, I'm not even going to fucking mention those trends. Over is being hit. I will say Miami is, what does that say? Miami's 6-6 overall against the over, 5-1 on the road, and 4-1 over their last 5. And then Los Angeles, they're 5-6-1, 3-2 at home, and 1-3-1 in their last 5. But man, this is just gonna hit. There's no way the over doesn't hit in this, and if it doesn't, then you should be disappointed. But who will win though? I'm gonna go with the fucking Chargers, cause God, man, they gotta fucking get a dub. If Justin Herbert is who we say he is, and he is this fucking generational talent, he should be able to get a fucking dub to save this franchise's hopes at a fucking playoff berth this year. That's just what, you got to be able to do that. And if he doesn't get the dub here, fucking maybe he's not who we thought he was. Or maybe the Chargers aren't who we thought they were. But you can't bring in fucking Khalil Mack and Jackson over there as the corner. You can't bring them in and fucking not have a good D and just be a shithouse the whole year. So we'll see. Maybe they are a shithouse, and maybe we don't know. But as of right now, that's where it fucking stands. We're going to roll with the fucking Chargers to beat the Miami Dolphins. I'm going for a lot of upsets this week. Because that's just who the fuck I am. That's who the fuck I am. Next game, New England Patriots and the Arizona Cardinals. New England, Arizona. It's not even close, dude. The fucking Cardinals suck dick. New England Patriots, they're good. Okay, let me rephrase that, Justin. The New England Patriots are decent, okay? They're not good. They're not bad. They're decent. So don't get your fucking all worked up in that regard. I mean, New York... Why is this a Monday night game? I don't know, guys. I don't know why the New England Patriots, I said it fucking 4 weeks ago, why they have 4 fucking primetime games in a row. It's absolutely ridiculous. They did flex 1 out, but I mean, still, 3 is a little overboard. I don't know what, the schedule makers, I don't know what you thought this New England team was going to be coming into the season, but they weren't fucking 4 primetime games in a row worthy. Sorry. Any trends here? Nothing to talk about here. We're just going to roll with the Patriots. Arizona sucks. I mean, they're a shit house. So we're going to roll with the Patriots. That's going to do it for all the picks this week. Yeah, I mean, I absolutely, guys, in all honesty, it's been quite a journey in this talk show, and every week I try to put on the best performance and try to get you guys the most info and the most news and the most I can do personally. Thank you to every single one of you who sit here and listen to my ass talk to you for however long the podcast may go. This will definitely be by far the longest podcast I've ever had. Thank you to Chris Phillips. Thank you to Jordan Heinz for coming on. Absolutely wonderful. I will not stop until we reach the top, TBloom Nation. I'm letting you know that right now. So hop on the bandwagon while you can, while the tickets are still cheap, because they're going to get expensive soon. Thank you to everyone watching. Thank you to everyone watching. I just fucking ruined that. Thank you to every single one of you guys who have watched, liked, comment, subscribe. Remember, if you haven't subscribed yet, give me a shout out. Subscribe, like, comment, tell a friend to tell a friend. And that's all I got for you today. TBloom Nation, TBloom. Until next time, I'll see you next Tuesday, motherfuckers. Out. Oh, shit.